The
The
wind
dog
howled
didn't
through the
flinch,
deserted
only
streets of
shivered
New
harder.
York,
Emily's heart
carrying with it
twisted.
a biting cold that seeped
Slowly,
through Emily's
she
thin
draped
clothes
the
like icy
blanket over the
fingers.
animal's
She
body,
pulled her knees to
tucking
her
it in as
chest,
best as she could.
shivering
The
uncontrollably
dog
as
let
she
out a
huddled in the
soft
dark
whine,
corner of an old
its
brick
eyes
building.
flickering open,
Snowflakes drifted
deep
down, settling
brown,
onto her
and
tangled brown
filled with
hair and the
something Emily
tattered remains of
recognized all
what
too
had once
well.
been a coat. Her
Loneliness,
fingers, numb and stiff,
fear,
clutched at the only possession she had
desperation.
left, the faded
"It's
threadbare
okay,"
blanket.
she
It was
murmured,
barely enough to
reaching out
keep her warm,
hesitantly.
but it was
When
all
the
she
dog
had.
didn't pull
She curled
away,
into herself,
she gently ran her
teeth
fingers
chattering
through
as
its
waves
cold,
of
damp
hunger
fur.
clawed at her empty
"You're
stomach.
not alone."
The city bustled around her,
The
indifferent to
German
her
shepherd
suffering.
exhaled,
People
a
passed by in
shaky
thick
breath
coats and
escaping its
scarves,
muzzle.
their heads bowed
Then,
against the cold,
ever so
too
slightly,
preoccupied with
it
their
inched
own
closer
lives
to
to
her,
notice the shivering
pressing its
girl in the
body
shadows.
against her side.
A dull ache settled in her chest.
Emily sucked
She
in a
had lost
breath,
count of how many
the
nights
warmth
she
of
had
the
spent
animal
like this,
surprising
cold,
against the cold
alone,
night.
invisible.
A lump
Then,
formed
through
in
the
her
silence,
throat.
she heard it, a
She had
faint,
nothing left in this
pitiful
world,
whimper.
no family,
Emily
no
lifted
home,
her
no
head,
future, and yet,
her
for the
breath
first time
visible
in a
in the
long
freezing
time,
air. Her
she
gaze
didn't feel
swept
quite
across
so
the
alone.
dimly lit sidewalk until she
The morning
spotted a
light
shape
crept
beneath the
over the
glow of a
rooftops,
flickering street lamp. A
casting a
dog,
pale
a
glow over
large
the
German
snow-covered
shepherd, its
streets.
fur matted with dirt and
Emily
snow,
stirred
was
beneath the
curled up
crumbling
beside a
awning where she
garbage
had
bin.
spent the night,
It was trembling
her body
violently,
stiff
its
from the
ribs
cold.
faintly visible beneath its thick
She felt
coat.
warmth
The
beside
animal
her,
lifted its head
and
slightly,
turned to see the German
ears twitching
shepherd
as
still
if
curled
sensing
against her
Emily's gaze.
side, the
Then,
tattered
with a
blanket
quiet
wrapped
whimper,
around them
it
both.
dropped its head back onto the icy pavement, too weak to move. She barely had enough to keep herself warm. But something about the way the dog lay there, abandoned and shivering, stirred something deep within her. She knew what it felt like to be unwanted. Carefully, she unwrapped the thin blanket from around her shoulders, the cold instantly biting into her skin. Her hand shook as she crawled toward the dog, her breath coming in soft, uneven gasps.
The dog didn't flinch, only shivered harder. Emily's heart twisted. Slowly, she draped the blanket over the animal's body, tucking it in as best as she could. The dog let out a soft whine, its eyes flickering open, deep brown, and filled with something Emily recognized all too well. Loneliness, fear, desperation. "It's okay," she murmured, reaching out hesitantly. When the dog didn't pull away, she gently ran her fingers through its cold, damp fur. "You're not alone." The German shepherd exhaled, a shaky breath escaping its muzzle. Then, ever so slightly, it inched closer to her, pressing its body against her side. Emily sucked in a breath, the warmth of the animal surprising against the cold night. A lump formed in her throat. She had nothing left in this world, no family, no home, no future, and yet, for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel quite so alone. The morning light crept over the rooftops, casting a pale glow over the snow-covered streets. Emily stirred beneath the crumbling awning where she had spent the night, her body stiff from the cold. She felt warmth beside her, and turned to see the German shepherd still curled against her side, the tattered blanket wrapped around them both. A small smile tugged at her chapped lips. The dog had stayed. "Guess we're stuck with each other now, huh?" she murmured, brushing her fingers through his thick fur. His ears twitched at her voice, and he lifted his head, gazing at her with those deep, intelligent eyes. He was still thin, his ribs too pronounced beneath his coat, but there was strength in him, and something else. Loyalty. Emily sat up, stretching her sore limbs. "We need to find food," she said. The dog blinked at her as if understanding. They wandered the city together, Emily keeping a watchful eye on the passers-by, looking for anything. Scraps left behind, a half-eaten sandwich forgotten on a bench, but food was always hard to come by, and people weren't quick to offer kindness to a homeless girl and a stray dog. By midday, her stomach ached with hunger. She and the dog, whom she had started calling Shadow, found a spot near a subway entrance where people flowed in and out, their pockets jingling with loose change. Emily sat down on the cold pavement, pulled her knees to her chest, and took a deep breath. She had always loved to sing, before life had taken everything from her, before the streets had become her home. She had spent hours listening to music, dreaming of a day when she could stand on a real stage,